you will see that we're very resilient and very strong people. We are a peculiar people. We are a resilient people. So when you look at things from that perspective, you have to look at how was we still able to prosper in our captivity. How are we still able to move and strive in our captivity? Even though you have to look at it, say, look at the sports, for example. These universities like Georgia, Tennessee, they're not able to make no money if it's not for if it's not for us. They're not able to survive if it's not for us. Because University of Georgia probably makes about $105 million a year just in football. So if we look at that, we have to look at just in 3 months, we bring them all this money. All this money we bring that athletic program. Probably within the whole year, 19 sports, they make about $130 million a year. Without us, that school would lose $130 million. That school would lose, say, half of their proceeds if we just decide to up and leave and go somewhere else. Even in the midst of our captivity, we are blessing other people in other nations. And we have to look at it from a different perspective, that we are some strong and resilient people. His eyes and his face is still shining upon us, even in the midst of this. So, I'm not going to get on my rant too long, but let us go ahead and go to the book of Exodus, Shema, Exodus 21 through 17. And it reads that Elohim said all these words, saying, I am Yahuwah thy Elohim, which have brought thee out of the land of Mizraim, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other idols before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any carved or graved images or any likeness of anything that is in the heavens above, or the Shemiams above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, Yahuwah thy Elohim, am a jealous El, visiting the sins of the fathers upon the children, unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt take the name of Yahuwah thy Elohim in vain, for Yahuwah will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Shabbat to keep it holy, a Kaddish. But the seventh day, remember the Shabbat and keep it holy, a Kaddish. 6 days thou shalt labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Shabbat of Elohim, but the seventh day is the Shabbat of Yahuwah thy Elohim. In it thou shalt not do any works, thou nor thy sons, nor thy daughters, nor thy manservants, nor thy maidservants, nor thy cattle, nor thy strangers that is within thy gates. For in 6 days Yahuwah made Shemiams and earth, the sea and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore Yahuwah blessed the Shabbat and hallowed it. Honor thy fathers and thy mothers, that thy days be prolonged upon the land which Yahuwah thy Elohim giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not cover thy neighbor's house, thou shalt not cover thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything is thy neighbor's. Let us do the Yahuwah's prayer. Our Father, which art in Shemiams of heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us of our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Thine to your kingdom, power to your glory, forever and ever. So let it be. So let it be. So if you could turn the word of the Most High to Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy chapter 32. Chapter 32. Deuteronomy chapter 32. Deuteronomy chapter 32. Verse 32 through 43. And the key verse is verse 42. The key verse is verse 42. And it reads, Deuteronomy 32 and 42, and it reads, I will make my arrows drunk with blood, and my sword shall devour flesh, and that with the blood of the slain and of the captives, from the beginning of revenges upon the enemies. Let me read that over. I will make my arrow drunk with blood, and my sword shall devour flesh, and that with the blood of the slain and of the captives, from the beginning of revenges upon the enemies. My two words for today, and no, let me go ahead and give a title of the text today. The title of the text today is Vengeance is Yahuwah's. Vengeance is Yahuwah. And let me go ahead and give you the definitions today. Intentions. Intentions is when the mind, with the great earnestness and of choice, fix its views on an idea or consider it on every side, and will not be called off by ordinary solicitations of other ideas. Intentions is to be focused on one thing at one specific time. Intentions is to design, purpose, the fixed directions of the mind to a peculiar object, or a determination to act in a peculiar manner. End or aim, the object to be accomplished. When your intentions is, the word intentions means that I'm gonna fix my mind on a given and purpose and given aim to accomplish a mission. To accomplish a mission. Intentions means that I'm going to do whatever I have to do to accomplish the mission. And to sum it all up, and that definition came out of the 1828 dictionary. Also, character. Character. Character means the peculiar or strange or odd qualities. Excuse me. Impressed by nature or habit on a person, which distinguish him from others. These constitute real characters, and the qualities which he is supposed to possess constitute his estimate, character, reputation. Hence, we say a character is not formed when the person has not acquired stable and distinct qualities. People know you by your character, and your character is built on certain qualities. Okay? So let me read another verse, and then we'll get started this morning. Verse 32 and 21. And it reads, they have moved me to jealousy. They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not Elohim. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities. And I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. And I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. Okay? So in the text, this is Moshe in chapter 31. Moshe is talking to the children of Israel. And it's basically talking about a leadership change. It's talking about a leadership change that's getting ready to happen. This is something that Moses has been designed to do. It was time for Moses to get ready to leave. But he was addressing the people. He was addressing the children of Israel. He was addressing our ancestors. And I want us to take this personally today. This is a personal message today. This is very personal. And he was addressing us. He was addressing our ancestors. He was talking to them. And he was telling them, hey, it's about time for me to get ready to go. I'm not going to be able to go over the river of Jordan with you. He said, my time is up. I've been here 120 years, so I know I can't live beyond that time because my time is up. It is time for me to go. It's time for Yehoshua to come in, or Joshua to come in. It's time for Joshua or Yehoshua to come in and take over the reign, take over the leadership, because it's my time has come up. But I want to talk to you. He said, he went on to talk to them about certain things, about their conduct. He wanted to talk to them about the covenant. He wanted to talk to them about what the Most High had did for them in the process. So Moses was starting to read the law to them. In verse 9 and 31, he says, and Moses wrote this law and delivered it unto the priests, the sons of Levi, which barked the ark of the covenant, unto Yahuwah and unto all the elders of Israel. So Moses was addressing the people. He was addressing them. He was telling them it's time for Yehoshua to come and take charge. It was time for them to understand that. He was reading the law to them. He was giving the commission to Yehoshua to be able to come in and step up and take charge of the people. But this is just like a farewell letter to the children of Israel. And on his mission, on his way of leaving out, before he was passed away, before he was going to his resting place, it was time for him to go. And he said, but before he leave, the reason why he gave this letter is in verse 19. It says, and now therefore write ye this song for you, and teach it to the children of Israel. Put it in their mouths, that this song may be a witness for me against the children of Israel. This is for them to be able to teach the children. This is for the elders to teach, and then also it's for this to continue to be passed down from generation to generation, so that we can understand things when we are in certain situations. So it just went on, and Moses went on talking to the people of Israel. In chapter 32, this is this is when it was just like he was making sure that when he was talking to the people in chapter 32, he had witnesses. He just didn't have the children of Israel as his witnesses as he was talking to them. You can see in verse 1, he said, give ear, O ye heavens, or Shemiams, and I will speak, and hear, O earth, the words of my mouth. He was asking for witnesses so that the children of Israel can't say that they did not receive what Moshe had gave them. And he was telling the children of Israel, hey, we have to You have to make sure that you abide by these laws, statutes, and commandments. But when you don't abide by the laws, statutes, and the commandments, what you're going to do is you're going to bring the Most High to anger and jealousy against you, because you're starting to love a El that is not, or that did not bring you out of the land of Egypt. This was like a forewarning farewell letter to the children of Israel. He told them what would happen to them and what would happen to their enemies in the land of their captivity, and he gave them all types of information. So before he passed away, so that they cannot say they did not get a farewell warning. So now when we go to verse 32 in Deuteronomy, let us understand verse 21. Let's go to verse 21, because I want us to be able to understand something. Verse 21. Verse 21, and it reads, this is because the children of Israel, they had gotten so wealthy, they was fat, they was living out the land, they was doing well. And as soon as they started to live well, they forgot who allowed them to live the way they was living. So when they forgot who allowed them to live the way they live, they start worshiping other things. It's just like when a person get rich, he forgets who allowed him to get rich. He start worshiping the things that he purchased, and not worship the deity that allowed him to get those things that he worshiped. That's where we roll. That's where Israel roll, because Israel forgets sometimes that the Most High got us to this point of wealth, and then when we get to that point of wealth, we forget who got us there, and we start worshiping other Elohims or other gods. So this is what happened, and once we start to get rich, we forget. How soon we forget. In verse 21 again, he said, they have moved me to jealousy with that which is not Elohim's. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities, and I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people, and I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. Understanding that the Most High he's talking about a nation who will rule over the children of Israel. He's telling us at this point here, he said, I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. Because sometimes, right now, we're following a group of people who the Most High don't even have no connection to. The Most High don't even have any relationship with them. The Most High is not even speaking through them. But He is using them to come against us. The reason why I say that, let's go to Psalms. Let's go to Psalms. Let me show you this. Let's go to Psalms 147. He's identifying the nation. Psalms 147, verse 19 and 20. He says, He showeth His words unto Yaakov, or Jacob, His statutes and His judgments unto Israel. He only did it to 2 nations of people. But the other nations of people He don't even deal with. He don't even associate with. That's why He call them a people of, He call them He says, I forgot what He just said, but a people He do not know, and a foolish nation. He's talking about all these other nations out here are foolish people. In verse 19 he says, He showeth His word unto Yaakov, not to the Gentiles, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He has not dealt so with any nation other than Jacob and Israel. And as for his judgment, they have not known them. Praise ye Yahuwah. That's why this nation there is always talking about the Constitution. They never use the Bible as their guide. They always use the Constitution as their guide, as their Bible, as their manuscripts. So what we're talking about here, we're talking about with identifying the idea, the nation, their mindset, this nation who has been set over the children of Israel and Jacob. The Most High do not have a relationship with them at all. He does not even have any type of relationship with them at all. They can't even understand what he's trying to say. They really can't. They really do not understand it. Let's go to, I'm going to go to, you don't have to put it, you can just write this down. You can go, I'm going to write this, I'm going to read you something from 2nd Ezra. 2nd Ezra 6:56. It reads, as for the other people which are also come of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing, but be like unto spittle, and has likened the abundance of them unto a drop that fall from a vessel. What this is basically saying is, the Most High don't know them folks. The Most High do not know them. So this nation that who he set over us, he does not have any type of relationship with them. He does not have any type of relationship with them at all. And sometimes we can misunderstand that. So when we're talking about the nations of people who he has set over us, it says that he set a nation that he don't even know. He set a nation up who he don't even know over us, who he don't even deal with, who he don't even have a relationship with at all. Because if you look at the King James Version of the Bible, they spell it I-E-S-U-S. But it's the fourth version of the, if you look at the 1611 King James Version, Yahusha, name is spelled I-E-S-U-S. But in the fourth edition of the King James Version, it's spelled J-E-S-U-S. So the spelling is so off. And if you look up the word J-E-S-U-S, in Greek it means Zeus, a Roman deity, a Roman god. So when we're looking at that, they don't even have no type of relationship with him. So those people who he set over us don't even know him. Don't know him at all. And they telling us that they know him and they trying to guide us and lead us. But he gave us the covenant. He gave us the laws and the statutes and the commandments. We just have decided to do what we want to do because we got a little rich and arrogance, and we start to fall prey. So now let's go down to verse 32 and 33. Let's go down to verse 32 and 33. We're talking about the character of the people. Now we understand that the people that's over us don't even have a relationship with him. They don't even know him, and he don't even know them. Now let's look at their character. He said, for their vines is of the vines of Sodom, and of the fields of Gomorrah. Their grapes are grapes of gall. Their clusters are bitter. Their wine is the poison of dragons, and the cruel venom of asps. Understand this. Let's look at this. Their vines is the vines of Sodom. Whatever they get out, whatever they give out, whatever they try to produce, whatever comes from them is wicked. Because we got to understand what was actually going on in the era of Sodom and Gomorrah. Nothing good was in Sodom and Gomorrah. Lot was the only righteous person in Sodom and Gomorrah. Everybody else was practicing witchcraft, wickedness, homosexuality. Because the vine is the root to what you believe in. It's a connection to what you believe in. And also what you give off. Okay, it says, and of the fields of Gomorrah. Because we got the reason why he's saying that is because he said in the last days, it will be worse than the days of Sodom and Gomorrah. So he's giving us a comparison. He says, from their vine is of the vine of Sodom. They have a connection. The wickedness is a connection. And of the fields of Gomorrah. Their grapes are grapes of gall. The grapes of gall. What does the word gall mean? The word gall means poison. It means venom. It means something that is not good. Whatever they produce is not good. And like yesterday, my wife, right? I love my wife. She went shopping yesterday at a store. At a store yesterday. It's a big bulk store. Big bulk store, right? And we try to buy fruits that have seeds, like oranges. We want oranges that have seeds. We want grapes that have seeds, because the more fruits you buy with seeds is the more natural and it's better for the body. I want you to understand something. Their grapes are grapes of poison. Okay? Their grapes are grapes of poison. That's what the word gall means. Now, my wife go to the same store yesterday, this big bulk store, and we try to buy fruits with seeds. She had bought some oranges that had no seeds in them. We have been trying to buy grapes that has no, but none of the grapes that we try to buy have no seeds. The grapes that they're making today are GMOs, genetic modified foods, which is not good for the body. So when we look at this, it says their grapes are grapes of poison. Every time we buy grapes that has no seeds in it, it's not good for the body. It's damaging the body. So it's telling you everything today, their character is of Sodom and Gomorrah. Everything that they produce is from Sodom and Gomorrah. Their grapes, their foods are poison to the body. Their clusters are bitter. This is what they produce. This is the character of the nation that the Most High don't even know, but he allowed them to rule over the children of Yahuwah in Israel because of our disobedience. He said the wine is the poison of a dragon. He said whatever they produce, whatever they got going on is not good for the human body. He said cruel venom of asp. See, we thinking we going to the store buying some fruit. We ain't doing them but buying some poison.
Seedless this, seedless that.
Seedless this and say it again, baby.
Seedless grapes, cotton candy grapes. Seedless watermelon.
Seedless watermelons. That is not good. Because the fruit has to bear, it has to produce the same fruit. This is creation that they have made. Seedless watermelons is not good for you.
It's convenient for people who want, but it's not good for you.
It don't have the same minerals in it. So this is the character. This is what they produce. This is how they behave. This no-name nation who the Most High have placed over us. This is their character. Let's go to Deuteronomy. Let's go to Deuteronomy 29 and 18. This is what the Most High is saying. The reason why he's saying that this is a no-name nation is because he don't want us to, he put them over us because of our disobedience. But this is what he want us to do. This is the way he want us to be in verse 20 and in verse 18 in Deuteronomy. Chapter 29, he says, least there should be among you men or women or families or tribe whose heart turns away this day from Yahuwah our Elohim to go and serve the gods of these nations. Least there should be among you a root that beareth gall and woodworms. Let me read that over. Let me go to verse 17 first. He's talking to the children of Israel just like about the people. Who are these people? I'm going to show you. Let's go to verse 17. It says, and ye have seen their abomination. Let's go to verse 16. Let's go to verse 16. It says, for ye know how we have dwelt in the land of Egypt, and how we came through the nations which ye passed by. What nations did they pass by? They passed by the nation of Esau. They passed by the nation of Moabites. They passed by the nation of Ammons. They passed by the nation of the Amorites, and they passed by the nation of Bashan. All those nations are wicked nations. The Ammonites came through the family lineage of Lot, which was a family lineage of incest. Okay? Esau sold his birthright. So you're dealing with a bunch of people, nations that do not honor the Most High. So when you look at the word nations in verse 28 and verse 18, it says, for ye know how we dwell in the land of Egypt and how we came through those nations, the Esau's, the Moabites, the Ammons, the Amorites, and the Bashans, which ye passed by. Ye have seen their abominations and their idols in wood and stone, silver and gold, which were among them. They worshiped the physical and not the spiritual. Least there should be among you men or women or families or tribes whose hearts turn away this day from Yahuwah our Elohim and go and serve the gods of these nations. He said, don't let none of these people be among you. Least there should be among you a root that bears gall and wormwood. And it'll come to pass when he heareth the words of this curse, that he will bless himself in his heart, saying, I shall have peace, though I walk in the imagination of my own heart, to add drunkenness to thirst. But he's saying, don't be around among these people. Don't have their character. Don't worship the things that they worship, because these people don't even know who Elohim is. Let's go to Job. Job 21. Job 21 and 14. It says, because these people worship money, they love money. Let me read verse 13. They spend their days in wealth, and in a moment go down to the grave. Therefore, if they say unto Elohim, depart from us, for we desire not the knowledge of thy ways. What is the Almighty, that we should serve him? And what profit should we have if we pray unto him? Lo, their good is not in their hands. The counsel of the wicked is far from me. How oft is the candle of the wicked put out, and how oft come their destruction upon them? Elohim distributes sorrow in his anger. But what he is saying is, these people operate off their own philosophies, their own ideas, their own mindset. This nation that he put over us operate in their own way of thinking. They do not consult. They do not give supplications and prayers unto the Most High about what they should and should not do. This wicked people who he put over us, they operate in their own mentality, and I'm going to show you at the end. Let's go to Hebrew. This is the character I'm talking about, this nation, who he set over us because of what we decided to do. Hebrew 3 and 12. Let me go to 11 first. He says, so I swear in my wrath, they shall not enter into my rest. Listen, so I swear in my wrath, my anger, they shall not enter into my rest. Take heed, brethren, lest there be in any of you an evil heart of unbelief, in departing from the living Elohim. But exhort one another daily while it is called today, lest any of you be hardened through the deceitfulness of sin. See, this nation who's been put over us, they think the way they want to think, act the way they want to act, have the connections of Sodom and Gomorrah in them. They produce food that is dangerous for the health, but they thinking that sin is the right way to go. And I'm going to show you at the end. I'm going to read a couple of articles to you, or quotes to you. This nation who we put over us has this character. This character don't even know Elohim at all in any kind of shape, fashion, or form. Let's go back to Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy 29 and 34. 32 and 34. Okay, he said that, verse 33, he says, their wine is the poison of dragons. Liquor kills the liver. Understand that their wine is considered to be liquor, which is a spirit. Their liquor is the poison of dragons, the cruel venom of asp. Liquor kills you, okay? Is not this laid up in store with me? He said, is not their sins laid up in stores for me, with me? I sealed up among my treasures. He's saying that I have sealed up their sins. He said, I have laid their sins in a store that I will not close. I will put it in my treasury box. I sealed up among my treasures all their wickedness, all their sins, all their bad behaviors, all their creations. To me belongs vengeance and recompense. Their foot shall slide in due time. For the day of their calamity is at hand, and the things that shall come upon them make haste, come quick. See, punishment is coming. Because of your character, punishment is going to come. I want us to understand something. Nobody get away with it. Nobody get away with sin forever. Let me read it over. It says, to me belongs vengeance and recompense. Their footstool shall slide in due time. They slipping away. They power is slipping away. They trying to do any and everything that they can to stay afloat. But their power is slipping away. For the days of their calamities is at hand, and the things that shall come upon them make haste. Okay? So let's go to Nahum. Nahum, N-A-H-U-M. Nahum 1 and 2. See, don't nobody get away with sin. Even though you may not judge yourself wrongly, but the Most High sees it. And the reason Nahum 1 and 2, and it says, Elohim is jealous, and Yahuwah revenges. Yahuwah revenges. Is fierce. It's telling you that the Most High's revenge is hard. It's without excuse me. It's coming hard. It's going to be terrible. It says Yahuwah will take vengeance on his adversaries, and he reserveth wrath for his enemies. This is what he is saying. He don't have no problem getting his enemies. And when he gonna get them, he gonna get them. Just like he got us, he's gonna get this no-name nation. See, don't nobody reign forever. Wickedness can't rule forever. They're only for a short period of time. Let's go to Romans. This is just an assurance, a personal assurance letter today. A text today, a teachings today. Romans chapter 12. Verse 19. Let me go back to verse 18 because we got to understand. Let me go back to let me go to 17. It says, recompense to no evil man for evil. Provide things honest in the sight of all men. If it be possible, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men. But we can see that some people are not trying to live peaceful with everybody. They want it their way or no way. Verse 19. Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath. For it is written, vengeance is mine. I will repay, saith Yahuwah. Therefore, if thy enemy's hunger, feed him. If he thirst, give him drink. For in so doing thou shalt heap coals of fire on his head. That part there is talking about your brothers. But not overcome of evil, but overcome evil with good. But what it's saying in verse 19, beloved, dearly beloved, avenge not yourself, but rather give place unto wrath, for it is written, vengeance is mine. I will repay. This is a promise. I will repay, saith Yahuwah. See, ain't nobody gonna get away with nothing. All those people in Tulsa, Oklahoma, I'm gonna talk about that at the end. Let's go to Hebrews. Hebrews 10 and 30. I just want us to understand something, that the Most High said he gonna give wrath, he's gonna give it. He's gonna give wrath because of the character and the way people do things on earth. He's gonna bring wrath to this no-name nation, and because of what they did. Hebrews 10 and 30 says, for we know him that he said, vengeance belong unto me. I will recompense, saith Yahuwah. And again, Yahuwah shall judge his people. It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living Elohim. But call to remembrance the former days in which, after ye were eliminated, you was brightened.
Enlightened. You were enlightened.
You was enlightened. Ye endured a great flight of afflictions.
Struggle of sufferings.
Right. Illuminate. Let me go here. I had to slow down. But call to remembrance the former things in which ye were illuminated.
Enlightened.
Okay, baby. You was enlightened, or you was enlightened, yet endure a great flight of afflictions or sufferings. My wife is going to be mad with me. But let's go back to Deuteronomy. Understanding that when you were, these no-name nations was enlightened, right? We got to understand this. Their character was like Sodom and Gomorrah. The food that they produced was venom. The wine that they produced was like, it was bad for dragons, which is alcohol. This is the character. Now the Most High is actually letting us know he's going to punish this nation for being the way they are. They're not going to get away with it. It's like, if you look, everybody's being petrified and saying, man, we're having a cyber attack on the gas. We're having a cyber attack on the meats. We're having an earthquake on the West Coast. Everybody's starting to say, what's going on? What's going on? Oh, now we got another plague is about to hit. And people are afraid. This is the Most High bringing judgment on the nations who has a wicked behavior. Let's go to verse 36. Let's go to verse 36. For Yahuwah shall judge his people. Yes, let's go back to Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 36. So now in Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 36, it reads, for Yahuwah shall judge his people and repent and console himself for his servants, when he seeth that their power is gone, and there is none shut up or left. Verse 37. And he shall say, where are their gods and their rock in whom they trusted? See, we trust in the material possession, and he's going to say to us, now since we lost all this power, what you trust in now? See, a person can boast and brag when they got a lot of money. They look down on a bunch of people when they got a lot of money. They driving in nice cars. They doing nice things. They got a big house. He said, you boasting and bragging now because you got all these big things and you riding big. He said, but okay. Where you at now when you broke? Where you at now when you ain't got no money? Where you at now when you don't have that Bentley you riding in, or that Mercedes, or that Lexus? Where you at now when you ain't got that $200,000 house and you live in an apartment? Where those gods at now that you used to worship and you used to belittle people because of that? Because of what you had? Where it's at now when you used to walk around with that Louis Vuitton purse, and now you walking around with a Walmart purse? Where those gods at now? Where those gods at to help you now? Verse 38. Which did eat the fat of their sacrifice and drink the wine of their drink offering. Let them rise up and help you and be your protection. All those things that you worship, let them protect you from your enemies. Let them continue to provide for you. Let that car help you with your sickness. Let that house stop your enemies from coming at you. All those things that you worship, let it protect you now. It says, see now that even I am he. There is no God. There is no El with me. I kill, I make alive, I wound, and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hands. For I lift up my hands to the Shemayim and say, I live forever. For if I heat my glittering sword and my hand take hold on judgment, I will render vengeance to my enemies, and I will reward them that hate me. I will make my arrows drunk with blood, and my sword shall devour flesh, and that with the blood of the slain and of the captives, from the beginning of revenge upon the enemies. Now listen to this. Rejoice, O nation, Israel, with his people, for he will avenge the blood of his servants. This is a promise. We got to trust in his promise. For he will avenge the blood of his servants and will render vengeance to his adversaries, and will be merciful unto his land and to his people. Let's go to Psalms 85:1. I'm excited that my wife is helping me more, and she's speaking up more on the Shabbat. Thank you, baby. I really appreciate it. Thank you for correcting me. Sometimes I've been making a lot of mistakes. Psalms 85:1. We got to trust in his word. Yahuwah, thou hast been favorable unto thy land. Thou hast brought back the captivity of Yaakov. Thou hast forgiven the sins of thy people. Thou hast covered all their iniquities. Thou hast taken away all thy wrath. Thou hast turned thyself from the fierceness of thy anger. This is a promise that he's gonna do. He's gonna get rid of all his anger towards us, because we went and started worshiping other things. Let's go to Psalms 126. Psalms 126, 1 and 2. And it reads, "When Yahuwah turned again the captivity of Zion, we were like them that dreamed. Then was our mouth filled with laughter, and our tongue with singing. Then said them among the heathens." You see how he identified these people? Then among the heathen, Yahuwah has done great things for them. Even these heathen nations going to see that he's going to redeem us, and they're going to get them. Verse 3, Yahuwah has done great things for us, whereof we are glad. Turn again our captivity, O Yahuwah, as the stream in the south, that thou sow in tears shall reap in joy. Let's go to the last one, Ezekiel. Ezekiel 39:25. Right now, we really got to trust the Most High, because he's going to bring vengeance. Excuse me. Therefore, thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, I will bring again the captivity of Yaakov, and have mercy upon the whole house of Israel, and will be jealous for my holy name. After that they have borne their shame and all their trespasses, whereby they have trespassed against me, when they dwell safely in their land, and none made them afraid. But he's going to bring us again to our place. But let me read you something. We just got to trust in his word. Let me read you something. This was coming, this article here coming out of famous quotes. And it's coming from fact check quotes from prominent American statesmen on race are accurate. It was wrote during July the 6th, 2020. And it's Reuter Reuters. That is the source. Reuters. It's called Fact Checks. Quotes from prominent American statesmen on race are accurate. Now, the person who I looked up was Henry Berry. This was a statesman that was in the early 1836. And this is the character and the mindset of Henry Berry. It says, we have, as far as possible, closed every avenue by which the light may enter the slave's mind. Understand that we Hebrews are the slaves, okay? We have, as far as possible, closed every avenue by which the light may enter, the knowledge may enter the slave's mind. If we could extinguish the capacity to see the light, our work would be completed. They would then be on the level of the beast of the fields, and we then should be safe. Do we hear the thought process of Henry Berry, Esquire? This man, and they have intentionally, this man and these people of the 1817, 1800, 19, even to this present moment, have intentionally made sure that we have not been able to think properly. They have intentionally did things to make sure that we couldn't function in a real reality in life. Let me read it over. It says, we have, as far as possible, closed every avenue by which the light or knowledge may enter the slave's mind. If we could extinguish the capacity to see the knowledge or light, our work would be completed. They would then be on the level of the beast of the field, and we then should be safe. They didn't want us to understand nothing back in the day. This is the character that they have. I got another article. It's called Slavery and the Making of America. This article was wrote, it don't have a date on it. It says it's the 13th Media with Impact. Slavery and the Making of America. Okay? But I want to read you something. Excerpts from South Carolina Act of 1740. Excerpts from South Carolina Act of 1740. Whereas the having slaves taught to write or suffering them to be employed in writing may be attended with great inconvenience, but it enacted that all and every person and person whosoever who shall hereafter teach or cause any slaves or slaves to be taught to write, or shall use or employ any slaves as a scribe in any manner of writing, whosoever hereafter taught to write, every such person or persons shall for every such offense forfeit the sums of 100 pounds
They cut us off.
current money. They did. They didn't like nothing I was saying, did they? Huh?
Hold on. If I don't know what to do because